In this section of the video, we'll show you how to combine the power of fundamental analysis and technical analysis together. We'll begin in Metastock Zenith. Metastock Zenith offers an advanced search feature which allows us to filter based off of fundamental criteria. Once we have a list of instruments that meet our criteria, we'll take them, move them over into Metastock, where we can use Metastock's power tools to identify trading opportunities. With that, let's go ahead and go into Metastock Zenith. To access the fundamental screening techniques in Metastock Zenith, we need to use the advanced search function. We go to the advanced search by going to the toolbar, clicking on the down arrow, selecting equities, and then going to companies. The advanced search allows us to choose either a specific ticker, code, or name that we'd like to use. However, we'd like to search a large base of instruments, so we're going to use the selection tools. We'll begin by selecting a country. For the purpose of our demonstration, we'll use the United States. You can see that there are quite a number of other countries that you can use. Again, for this example, we'll use the United States. We'll select Add, choose OK. We can select what kind of equity we'd like to use, what sector we'd like to use. We'll leave those as generic, but we'll select an exchange. I'd like to narrow this down to the New York Stock Exchange. So I'll scroll down and find the New York Stock Exchange. Select Add, choose OK. And now what we can do is add criteria we'd like to filter on. I'll do that by selecting the down arrow on Add Criteria. Here we have our top criteria that you can choose from. These are the most commonly selected. You can also set company general share, use information from the balance sheet, growth ratios, market ratios. Let's say, for example, here I wanted to use beta. Now, beta is relative volatility to the S&P 500. So if I'm looking for something that's volatile, I can look for a number greater than 1. But let's say I didn't know that beta was under market ratios. Where would I find it? Well, I can come over here to the Find Criteria option. The criteria here is the same criteria from the drop-down over here. But we're going to just type in beta and narrow it down, select it, choose OK. And we now have the option to either select greater than, less than, equal to, or between. Well, I'd like to say greater than 2. Let's add in another criteria. Let's go to price performance. And let's say price change relative to the index over the last year. And let's say 4%. Now all I need to do is search. And you can see our results here show that we have 122 results. Well, maybe that's too many for me to filter through. So I can then go down, change my criteria. Let's change it to greater than 3 on beta. Again, select search. And now we've narrowed it down to 28. So I have 28 stocks that meet my criteria. Now in the criteria results, we'll have the company name, the exchange, the symbol, market cap, ticker, sector, what country, what type of equity it is, and then our beta, and then our price change relative to the index over a year. Okay, so we can see we have quite a bit of information here. Now, if I'd like to save this search so I don't have to access it, recreate it every time, I can do that by clicking Save Search. And we'll call this our Fundamental Screen 1. And I can always access that when I come into the company search by clicking My Searches. And then all I need to do is select Fundamental Screen 1. And it will bring me up a list based off of what I've selected. Now, as we go through this, if I wanted to get more in-depth information, I could choose either the name or the symbol and go in and do a dive on information, as we've discussed in the Introduction to Metastock Zenith video. But here what we'd like to do is actually take this list and move it over into Metastock so we can do fundamental and technical analysis together. So let's come over here and select Create List. I'll check the name box, and that will allow me to select all the securities here. I'll choose Copy, and then what I'll do is I'll go to Excel, do a paste, and all that same information I had in my fundamental screen is now available here in Excel. All I need to do to take those symbols in the Metastock is select the symbols by holding down the Shift and holding down the left mouse button. Right-click, copy, and then we'll go over to Metastock. Now in Metastock, inside the Power Console, you have the option to manage custom lists. We'll choose Manage Custom Lists, select New, and we're going to call this our fundamental screen here as well. And then I'm going to just click in the white space, do Control V, select Save, and now you can see it's added my fundamental screen securities into my custom list manager. So when I close this in the Power Console, I now have the ability to go through and chart, scan, or backtest these securities. So let's actually scan these. So I'd like to do a long-term bullish scan. A long-term bullish scan gives me stocks that are where their closing price is above its 200-day moving average. I'll select Next, go to my fundamental screen, make sure Select All is checked, Next, and we'll leave all this as the default. Start exploration. And now we have our report. So we know that all these stocks now met our fundamental criteria. We move them over, we've done a technical scan, and we know these stocks meet our technical criteria. So I can see my rejects here. I can now take this list and apply analysis to it. If I'd like to filter it again for other technical criteria, I can. But what we're going to do is we're going to do one last step here and save this as a list. So I'm going to select all these by holding down the Shift and selecting the top and bottom. Right-click, Add to Custom List, Create New Custom List, and then I'll call this my watch list now. Choose Create, OK, and now I can close this view, and I can come in and now I have all these stocks in my watch list ready for me to continue to do my analysis. So as we move this information back and forth, take that information and move it over from Metastock Zenith over into Metastock Pro and do your analysis.